Hi and welcome to an IELTS speaking sample. In this video, we're going to have an IELTS sample of speaking session with one of our candidates. Her name is Harita. Now all of us know when it comes to IELTS speaking, you're evaluated on 4 aspects. One is lexical resources. Second is fluency. Third, grammatical range and accuracy. And 4, pronunciation. So when you listen to Harita speak, so I'll take up the role of the examiner and Harita will be the candidate. Now when she speaks, try and find out how she is performing across these 4 aspects. There will be 3 sections or 3 parts in the IELTS speaking. Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. At the end of the video, once you've seen the IELTS speaking session with Harita, I'm also going to add a feedback. So my take on her performance will be added at the end of the video. As you go through the IELTS speaking session, try to note down the mistakes, errors and suggestions you have for the candidate. And at the end, when I give my feedback, try and verify and cross-check what I have found as certain corrections or possible feedback for her matches the one that you've managed to note down. So let's get started with the IELTS speaking test. Can you tell me your full name, please?
I'm Harita PV.
Okay, and what should I call you?
Harita, that's fine.
Do you work or are you a student?
Well, I'm a student. I have completed my Masters in Business Administration.
Alright, so Harita, let's talk about home.
Alright.
Where is your home?
My home is in Kannur. Basically, it's called Cheleri. It's near to Kannadiparamba temple. It's a rural area, that's it.
Alright, and do you live in a house or a flat?
Yes, I do live in a house with my family. As I've said, it's a rural area. I am living in my own home.
Alright, and who do you live with?
I live with my family. Family in the sense my parents and my brother.
Okay. So are there many rooms in your home?
Rooms in the sense there are 3 bedrooms. One is mine and one is the master bedroom and one for my brother and of course there is a living room, kitchen. Yeah, in the sense there are so many rooms.
Alright, and what is your favorite room?
My favorite room will be my own room. That is a place where I'm feeling more comfortable. So yes, it's my room.
Alright, how are the walls decorated?
Decorated in sense it's not much decorated. It's just painted with a white paint.
Okay.
Just a whitewash. We are planning to paint with some other colors. As of now, it's just whitewashed walls.
Alright, and what would you like to change about your home?
Yeah, I would like to change the interiors and the decorations of my home. That is, as I said, it's not just decorated, it's just whitewashed. So I would like to do some decorations on the walls and make some interior works. So like in the sense it looks much more beautiful and attractive.
Okay. Yeah. Alright, and do you plan to live there in the future?
Oh well, that is a tight question actually. As I'm a female, at a certain point of age we need to get married and move to our husband's home. So yes, I would like to live in my home, but at a certain point of age we need to get married, right? So no, I don't think I'll be living living there
in the future.
In the future, right?
Alright, what facilities are there near your home?
Near your home in the sense I've already said, no, it's a rural area. So near my home it's just like small shops and small supermarkets as such. It's not much of the facilities are there available. So it's just small shops and supermarkets are available.
Alright, so what is your neighborhood like?
Yeah, neighborhood like in the sense, as I've already said, it's a rural area. So it's filled with small houses and all. Nearby it's my ancestor home and the surroundings is filled with houses only. Not like shops or any other things, facilities are there.
Okay, so let's talk about art now.
Alright.
Are you good at art?
No, basically I'm not good at art, but I do paint and draw a little bit.
Okay. Did you learn art at school when you were a child?
No. I did not learn as such, but I do love painting and brushing. Yeah, only like that.
Okay. What kind of art do you like?
Art in the sense, I love pencil drawings and also wall paintings. I love wall paintings, and as it's beautiful to watch, and yeah, interior works will be nice. So
Okay.
I do love wall paintings, and yes, of course, pencil drawings is much more attractive to see and all. No, so I love that also.
Okay. Have you ever been to an art gallery?
Yes, of course I have went. Like if we need to chill or we need to calm ourselves, I have visited art galleries, and during my school time, we do visit art galleries as a tour and all. We'll be going. No, so I have visited like that.
Or do you think children can benefit from going to art galleries?
Yes, of course they do. As a children, they'll be at a smaller, younger age, right? So they'll be more curious and wanted to learn more about art and how is it being done and all. So yeah, children will be. I mean, if they do visit art galleries, they'll be more what in the sense they'll be much more wanted to know about the art and how it's been created and all. So it will be much more beneficial.
Alright, Harita. Now we'll move on to the second part of speaking.
Okay.
You will have to prepare on this topic. You have to basically talk on a good news you received recently.
Okay.
So this is your prompt card. You also have a paper and pencil to prepare. You have 1 minute's time to make notes of it.
Okay.
Preparation time starts now.
Thank you.
Alright, Harita, that's the end of your preparation time.
Okay.
You now have 2 minutes to speak on the topic, and I'll stop you when your time's up.
Okay.
You can start now.
Yeah. Good news when, as according to me, I have got my driving license recently. So that is a great achievement for me. But the good news was when I have reached my home, there was a brand new scooty which my father has gifted me. He has already promised me after getting the license he'll be gifting me a scooty. So I was not expecting that. So when I reached home, I mean from my college, when I reached home back, there was a scooty in front of my home. So that was really very much happier. I mean, I was really very happy for that, because I was wanted, and I was really having an crave for having a scooty of my own. So when I saw that, I was really very excited. So yeah, that's I mean, and when I talked with my father, he also, I mean, already he was saying that I have already promised you I will be gifting a scooty after you get your license. So I was really very happy at that moment, and I am riding a scooty of my own. So going to places with my own scooty is a much happier moment, and I feel very happy, and I am very thankful for my father for gifting me a scooty.
Okay. Alright, so do you ride your scooty now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Alright, so now let's move on to the last part of speaking. So Harita, let's discuss this further. We're going to talk about media and news.
Okay.
Do you believe everything you read in the newspaper?
Basically, I'm a person who is not interested in reading newspapers, but yeah, I do, because newspapers is a medium through which all age group is getting the latest news of nowadays, right? So yes, I do believe that it's not like everything is in newspapers and true. It's according to the preference of that editor or the writer. So I don't think that everything that comes in newspapers will be true. I mean, the thing which is happening around.
Okay. How do most people get their news in your country?
as I've already said, no, I'm basically from a rural area. So when it comes to my area, the age group, it depends on the age group. If I'm talking about my grandparents and all, they are looking forward for this newspapers and radio for getting this latest news and all. And according to me, that is my age group, they are getting news from this social media, that is smartphones, television, everything is there. No, so it depends. But in the urban areas and all, yeah, they are much more technology based, and they are fast moving in this era. So yeah, they will be much more related to this. That is much more help. I mean, for them, this has new technologies like smartphone, television will be much more helpful, because they are running out of time, and reading this newspapers and all will not be beneficial for them. So they will be looking forward for this news. In the sense, this one, smartphones and television and social medias for getting the latest news.
Okay. So you spoke about the usage of smartphones. Now, how do you think people will get their news in the future?
Yes, of course. Nowadays, technology has been developing fast. That is, minute by minute, technology is changing. No, so in the future, there will be no newspapers. I think so. There will be no newspapers and radio. That is, there will be not. I mean, most of the people will not be depending upon them. So in the future, this technology-based smartphones and this more social media will be helpful for getting this latest news and all.
Alright, now how do you think TV has changed our lives?
TV, of course, when we move back in certain years back, TV was like a giant TV, right? And when we look now, it is like small LED, LCD TVs and all. So as the shape of the TV and the technology has changed, the watching, nowadays this age groups, aged people also is watching TV for getting news and all. Because there's eyesight problem and all, no, they'll be getting news from this news channels and all, because there are so many news channels nowadays, and they'll be finding it strainful for reading from newspapers and all. So everybody is watching this television nowadays for getting the latest news. So TV is much helpful than this newspapers, radios and everything, social medias and all.
Alright. Should children be allowed to watch a lot of TV?
According to me, children should not be allowed to watch TV a lot, but for a certain time period they have to watch TV, because of this current pandemic and all, they are not having they're not getting a chance to go outside and play with their friends and all. So for a little time span, they can watch TV, but the parents or the elder ones should be keeping restrictions, so that in a future time it will not be affecting their eyes and health and all.
So how do you think this can be controlled? Children watching a lot of TV.
Yeah, as I've already told, no, their elder ones should be keeping restrictions in watching TV and all. That is, children in the sense, the younger babies and all, as nowadays they are not having, getting a chance to go outside and play with their friends and all. So they'll be getting bored at home So in order to, for their enjoyment, they are seeking the help of this television and all. But we can't blame them. But as an elder people, we have to make them understand that watching TV for a long time is not good for their eyesight and health and all.
Are all people on TV famous?
No, I don't think so, because everybody who is coming on TV is not that much famous, because actually there is a trend in the sense, we do watch shows in the theater which is coming on TV, which is starring a celebrity. That is, people do watch or craving to watch those shows in which celebrities are presenting themselves or having an interview. But there are common peoples who are appearing on TV and giving interviews as such. But according to me, for 2-3 days that show and that person will be famous, but after that people will be forgetting them, because all people, in the sense, if we watch celebrity shows, common people will be having the tendency to watch it again and again. But if we are watching a common person's interview, people will not be having that urge to watch it again and again. So if a person comes on TV for the first time, so after certain days, that is 2-3 days, people will be having that tendency to forget them. So I don't think so everybody who appear on TV or comes on a television will not be famous as such, but for a certain span of time, that is for a certain period of time, they'll be famous. But there is a probability that after coming on TV, appearing on TV, they might get famous.
Thank you. That's the end of your speaking test.
Thank you.
Well, that was the end of the IELTS mock speaking with Haritha. So now let's match the feedback or the points that you have noted during the entire speaking that I've had with her to what I've found out. Alright, so I would say that Haritha has done fairly well in all the 3 parts. Now, I would say one of the best aspects of her performance was following the length or the required duration for each of the parts. For instance, part 1 requires the candidate to be able to expand the answers in around 2 to 3 sentences. That is, the answer should not be too short or too long. And if you've noticed, the first set of questions that I asked her about home and art, she's managed to do that. So the length of her responses was quite apt for each of these parts. In part 2, she spoke to close to 1.5 minutes, which is again fair enough. A candidate will need to speak for 1 to 2 minutes on the given topic. And in her case, she spoke for around 1.5 minutes. Normally, the examiner will stop you at 2 minutes, but because she was almost done with her task card, she stopped on her own, which is also okay. I did ask her a follow-up question after her performance on part 2 of speaking, and she did give a very short response to that in around 2 to 3 sentences, which is again the apt length for a response for a follow-up question on part 2 of speaking. And in part 3, the candidate is expected to give longer responses with examples, suggestions, comments and opinions and feedback. And Haritha did manage for most of the questions. She did give examples also when it comes to part 3. So basically, the length of her responses for the 3 different parts of speaking were quite apt. But if you look at the vocabulary, lexical resources, which is one among the 4 criteria, so her lexical resources was quite, I would say, limited. She did not have a lot of different words to use in each of these parts. Even if it is part 1 where she had to speak about her home and about art, if you've noticed, she's not used a wide variety of words. She kept repeating quite a few of them. For example, she kept insisting on the part or the fact that she is from a rural background or her home is located in the rural background. So that was quite often repeated in most of the questions that I had asked her regarding her home. She also has certain usages that is quite glaringly visible or audible throughout her speaking. Phrases like "in the sense that" or in "see and all." So these kind of usages. Now this "and all" usage is very Indian usage. I've seen this among most of my students, which I would say is not a good thing to say because that is not an accepted usage at all. Now you say "and all" when you are trying to build a list of things. You're not able to fill it with certain words, and then instead of etc., you say things like "and all." Like you say, there are quite a lot of individual homes and all in my locality. Now, why should you say "and all" there? You can just say there are quite a few individual homes in my locality. Or you can say quite a few individual homes, shops, and so on in my locality. So on is accepted, but not "and all." So quite a few of these phrases are quite repeated, which you need to avoid. It was very glaringly visible throughout the conversation. And all is another usage that I would like to bring to your notice, that you have to avoid repeating. And according to me. Now, according to me is not the right usage at all. I can always say according to someone else, like I can say according to my father, or I can say according to Mahatma Gandhi, but I cannot say according to me. Instead, I'll have to resort to the usage, in my opinion, or from my perspective. Or I can simply say it as, I feel that, or I think. These are good usages, but avoid saying according to me. So in part 2 especially, she kept saying according to me, which is not a right or accepted usage. So if any of you are into the habit of using according to me, stay clear of it. If you've noticed, in part 2 of speaking, Harita was not referring to the notes she prepared. Now, when you get the 1 minute time to make notes and prepare on what you're going to speak, make sure you end up using it as well. Because when you prepare and you feel you're confident enough to speak for 2 minutes, you might be missing out on important points that you've made a note of. So make it a habit to refer to the notes. That is, you can actually look at the paper and not make it a point to look at the examiner throughout. There is no requirement that you need to maintain eye contact throughout your speaking, especially when it comes to part 2, because you've prepared notes, you jotted down some points, you need to use them when you speak. So in between, you could be looking down into your paper, referring the point that you've written, and then look at the examiner and speak. Or at certain points, you could definitely be speaking by looking at the paper itself. So make it a point to refer to what you've written down as notes, because I'm sure there would be points or ideas that you're completely missing out or you've forgotten as you start speaking. And these notes that you can fall back on will definitely help you ensure that you're fluent throughout. When talking about fluency, Harita was more or less fluent in her speaking. There were not a lot of hesitations. She seemed quite confident in using English. There were certain grammatical errors, especially when it comes to tenses and certain usages, singular, plural, and certain accepted and non-accepted usages. So definitely, yes, that did hinder her fluency here and there. But otherwise, language-related fluency was not very prominent. But yes, you might have noticed that she was hesitating quite a bit when it comes to vocabulary. Maybe looking out for the right word at the right point of time to speak out. Craving is a word that she used twice in her speaking. One, when she spoke or discussed about the good news that she received of being a scooty that was presented by her father. She said that she had this craving for a scooty of her own. So craving would not be the right usage there. She could have used desire. She had a desire to own a vehicle of her own. Now, craving is mostly associated with, let's say, food. Like I can say, I have a craving for ice creams, something that I want really badly. Okay, so that's more or less associated with food. So this could be something that she's wishing for, like a possession. So the right word would be that she desired to have it, she wanted it badly, but craving might not be the right or apt usage there. She used craving again a second time when she was discussing watching TV, and she said children might crave to watch TV, which could be, an accepted usage or a non-accepted usage. But what I'm trying to point out is that the word craving was repeated quite often. She did have some good usages as well, where she spoke about how you need to put in place certain restrictions when it comes to children watching TV. And restrictions is the right word to use when you're talking about what things or how children should be allowed to watch TV or not, or how much of time should children invest in watching TV. Well, I would say a certain wrong or inappropriate usages would be when she said younger babies, which is quite confusing because babies we know are already young or small, and younger babies do not make sense. So just watch out for these slips that you might make. Now, because it was not very evidently present right throughout her speaking, it could be considered as a minor slip of usage. Overall, she's performed quite well, and I would say Harita is a candidate who would score somewhere between a 6 and a 6.5 in her IELTS speaking. These are my findings about the candidate. What did you find out when you were listening to her speak? Did it match? I'm sure there would be other errors that you found out that I've missed out. Well, that's fine. This is just the, I would say, the icing on the cake. But I'm just talking about the glaring mistakes that she's made. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope this was useful. Continue practicing IELTS speaking with us and watch out our space for more upcoming videos on IELTS speaking. Thank you.